questions about the economics of job getting in terms of the blacks versus the whites. The statistics I was able to pull together indicate that at the present time, white males make $17,427 on an average basis for the year. Black males make 12,738. White females make 10,244. Black females make 9,476. It is clear from these figures, as indeed I think it's clear to most of us from what we see, that there is a discrimination against blacks and against women in our present system. Since not all blacks will be superior, how would you try to even that out so that there would be some equality of job
Yeah,
opportunities?
I'm sorry you missed the earlier part of the program when I pointed out that where you find people not represented evenly, that does not show the institutional effect because almost nowhere in human affairs do you find people evenly represented.
Well,
If you compare comparable people with respect to age, with respect to education, etc., you get a totally different picture, both with respect to blacks and women. Now, the figures that I saw, for example, show more recently that if you take black families where the husband and wife are both college educated and compare them to white families where the husband and wife are both college educated, the black family is now earning $2,000 a year more. The problem is that very few blacks fall in that category. That when you compare category for category, then we're talking about getting people a decent education. I'm saying that you cannot say that numbers collected at the employer's place of business reflect simply the employer's policy. Those numbers reflect underlying conditions in the whole society, just as numbers collected at the hospital do not show you that people are sick because they're in the hospital.
no, I would agree with that. But you would also have to agree that generally speaking, women are paid less, for example, for the same jobs as
No,
men.
I would not. I would not agree with that. If you're talking about women with the same number of years of experience, with the same
I am.
continuous service, et cetera, then when I look at that, I don't find that disparity. I find, for example, in many cases, that women are making more, depending on how you break the data down. The difference with women is between married women and everybody else. That's the real difference.
Mm.
Well, as to single women, the Census Bureau statistics, the most recent ones I could find, 1978, say that single men are earning $11,100 and single women are earning $9,300.
Yes, I love the word single that is used. When I did my study, I didn't use single, I used never married. You see, a woman who is single at age 40, having spent 10 or 20 years raising children, is really not quite the same as a man of age 40 who's been working continuously for 20 years.
You kind of lost me there. He's just saying that just because you're single doesn't mean that you don't have liabilities like kids, because you could be a single mother. Just because you're single doesn't mean that you don't have kids. Kids are a liability. Kids take out a lot of your attention, your time, and your ability to work often many hours, like as much as a man who probably isn't more focused on kids, who's too busy out there in the field, getting money.
And the differential society is not that great, so it could easily be accounted for by the point
Yes,
you
because when I
raised.
break them down the other way, I did this for the academic world, and there I found the women who are never married, which is the term the way I take it. There they were earning more than the men. And similarly, when the government did data some years ago on women who had been working continuously since high school into their 30s, there you found that they were making slightly more than men of the
Pause
same
that real
experience.
quick. I've actually read something about this, about how people, like specific governments and organizations, will do something called doublespeak. And doublespeak basically is when they try to tell you that this is the truth. They're purposely misinterpreting their words so that you think a certain thing, when in reality they're referring to another thing. For example, if you go to the grocery store and you see something that says, "Oh, sugar free," most of the time it has sugar. It's just you're not talking about cane sugar or table sugar. You're talking about like
Fructose corn syrup.
fructose corn syrup and that, like stuff like that. But like that's an example
Yeah,
of double
fructose
speak
corn
where
syrup.
they say you're sugar free. If you're like a diabetic person, then you're like, oh, I'm gonna get that because that's sugar free. But in reality, it has sugar, so they're really like hurting you. But that's an example of double speak. And so the fact that they say stuff like, oh, the statistics show that single women earn less, but it's like, is it single woman or is it never married woman? Because it tells you that, oh, single women that haven't been together before. It's like if you look deep into it, then it's like, okay, clearly they're trying to make you think that they're referring to single as in not even ever married. But in reality, they don't go into the fact that these women could potentially have already been married and have kids and are devoting a lot of their time to their kids, and that's why they make less money in the work field.
By the point
Yes,
you
because when I
raised.
break them down the other way, I did this for the academic world, and there I found the women who are never married, which is the term the way I take it. There they were earning more than the men. And similarly, when the government did data some years ago on women who had been working continuously since high school into their 30s, there you found that they were making slightly more than men of the same description. So the differences between married women and everybody else.
Yeah, that just makes sense in a way.
So if somebody is between 18 and 30 years old, and whether they're man or woman, so long as they're working the same amount of hours as that man, there's a good chance that they'll either make the same or relatively close to the same.
The only women who do get paid more are the ones who are never married and
Like hella focused.
work continuously.
Yeah.
So it's like that's a very like small
Yeah, no,
minority of women.
there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Women generally get paid less than men, and that's like but what the point he's trying to make is that the reason why that. I mean, he didn't make that point, but I'm gonna say for him. I feel like the reason why that happens is because most of the time in a woman's life, literally their whole life, most of the time, on average, they have more responsibilities, especially when it comes to kids. And you guys already know, kids are liabilities. We can't even like they're assets when you want them to be, but for the most part, when they grow up, they gotta go to college. They gotta do this and that. The third, if somebody pulls your child hostage, guess what? You're giving up your whole entire house to make sure your child is okay. Women will do that any day for their children. Women are more likely to spend more time for their kids, less time for their job, and prioritize family and people over profits. And that's just how it usually is. So it is not. There's no doubt women most likely are going to be making less than men, but there's reasons for that. Like the wage gap, the reason why it's a myth is because they make it seem as though they're doing the same amount of hours, the same level of jobs, and that's not true.
And married men get an extra bonus because their wives take care of many things and enable them to put more time into their careers.
I'm sure you're aware of the fact that there are approximately 15% of all homes in which there is only one wage earner. So that when you talk about women being able to take care of things for their married mate wage earner, the fact is that in the overwhelming majority of American homes, the women also work. And therefore, I don't think your explanation that women have other responsibilities and that's why they are.
Work can mean part-time work or full-time work. Women do not work full-time to the same extent as men. Part-time workers make less than full-time workers.
He said that about bonuses, like for the man, being married is a bonus because most likely your woman will take that responsibility, take that household, take that motherly role to stay home and watch the kids. But as a woman, being married is actually not a bonus because for the most part, you're going to most
Well, it's
likely have kids,
childbearing.
and so that means your liabilities are going to go up the more kids you have, and making it less optimal for you to go out and work. If y'all want to listen to some more Thomas Sowell on your free time, there's a 30-day free trial to audible.com. Of course, there's basic economics, discrimination, and disparities. So if y'all want to check it out, links in the description. Thanks to Audible for sponsoring this video. If y'all enjoyed this video at all, show some love, hit the like, subscribe, notification bell. Catch you on the next one. Peace.